Welcome back! I am Ari and I recently played BUSTAFELLOWS. Today I present to you my root review for Helvetica. First I'm gonna talk about my first impressions and expectations for this character. Since there is a common route in this game before the normal route starts, I'm gonna keep my first observations to the stuff that I saw in there. Then I will continue into the route of Helvetica while still leaving out spoilers. After that I will go into kind of mild spoilers. I'm gonna say some direct things about what happened in the route, but I'm not gonna say what exactly happened. It's basically just things I thought notable. I will probably just read out some of the things that I've wrote down while playing, but again I will give you a warning before I do anything of that. I will talk about dynamics between the main character and the love interest Helvetica, and I will try to give you a feel for the route itself. After all of that, I will give my personal rating of the route and this particular love interest. Alright, so let's start with Helvetica in the, I guess, common route that's like until chapter 4. Helvetica is, which is pretty clear from the first meeting already, pretty handsy and touchy. So if you don't like that, you already know. He is very pretty. He is kind of a flirt, but I don't know, in a weird way. I really struggle with calling him a flirt because I have never seen a flirt like him, I guess. It's just the way he does it, I don't know. He's very secretive though, like he's kind of outgoing and also not. It's a weird mix, and he's also pretty inhibitioned. I would call him a sleazeball, but I guess I will leave that up to you guys. And he's absolutely overly confident. That being said, most of these sound pretty negative, so let me try to put in some positives. He's also really loyal if you've earned his trust. He can be really proactive, and he's also really smart. I think that's all I can say without spoiling anything. He can really lay on the charm, as usual for a flirt, but I guess he does it really strategic, which makes him also pretty manipulative. I guess it's kind of a weird mix because he can seem really warm, but it's all kind of fake, so he kind of comes up really cold. Yeah. Okay, so that's all my first impressions that I had before I went into his route. Now I'm gonna talk about his side A, as it's called. So the route in this game is parted into side A and side B of the route, and we're not only gonna talk about side A for now, we're gonna talk about side B after that. I want to make a quick disclaimer before I start this, because I want to say I don't hate him. A lot of the things I'm gonna say about him I realize sound really negative, but it's just that I'm just not romantically interested in him. So yeah, that's all. I would be fine to hang out with him, but yeah, I was just not feeling it at all going into the route, and it kind of shows because I already had some notes before going into the route regarding this. So I'm just gonna read this out because these were my predictions. I had no clues except for the common route, so take it with a grain of salt. These were my prediction for the route, but I found them interesting. If you don't want to hear it, you can skip ahead, I guess. But this was what I wrote down. I'm not even out of the common route yet, and I feel like this romance is gonna be reluctantly falling for him. Teuta seems as unenthusiastic as I am for him, and that actually makes it really interesting. Falling for someone despite not wanting to kind of has something. Okay, now I also had the prediction of this kind of being like an enemies to lovers trope. Kind of, it doesn't really apply, but yeah. So now that I got my predictions out for the route, I'm gonna tell you all about what I thought about the route without spoiling anything. So Helvetica is actually really supportive, which I did not expect for whatever reason. But he likes to mess with her. I guess so much is probably also clear from the first 4 chapters. He's been through a hell of a lot, which I will not go into again, but I really like that he tried to understand her, meaning the main character, and in this regard, I found it also really interesting that with that what he finds when he tries to understand her, he's kind of not happy with what he finds. It's because usually these stories, they try to make them come to an understanding of another, right? So like they talk about it, they try to put themselves in the shoes of the other person, and then they're like, ah, okay, now I get it. But it kind of didn't feel like that. Like, he was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, still shit, I don't know, I don't see your point. I mean, he didn't say shit or anything, he wasn't disrespectful about it, but you could clearly feel that he still disagreed, even though he now understood. And I found that really interesting somehow. What you should know about this route, or what I found important, was that this route is really sad. I didn't expect this degree, actually. I was also pretty impressed with how strong-willed Helvetica is, because I didn't paint him to be a guy like that, actually. The story itself is very interesting. I was taken aback multiple times. I will also admit that some of the stuff Helvetica says is really good, but he was still insufferable in how he acts. It felt like I kind of wanted to fall for him, but it just didn't happen. It's just not my type, I guess. But I was starting to sway in the route, especially because he kind of changes, and how he changed, or like how he was later on. I'm really trying to not say it and like just beat around the bush so that I'm not spoiling anything, but like I really liked it. Yeah, I was really invested. I actually was so invested at some point that I wrote down that his sprite changed, or like I suspected his sprite changed, just because I felt like he looked so much softer and friendly and approachable, and like so much, I don't know, he looked changed. But I'm pretty sure now that I'm looking back and I had to have some distance between me and the root, it's been a few days, I'm actually pretty sure his sprite didn't change. It was just me projecting that I felt different about him onto his sprite. I mean, I'm not sure about this, I didn't double check, but I'm pretty sure about it though. So let's get back to the story, since I cannot really talk about him regarding this. I think like Helvetica's story was actually surprisingly deep, profound even, I would say. And I don't know, it was kind of funny to see it go back and forth, because then it goes back. He basically changes again, and yeah, it was kind of funny. I have some notes about that, but I'm gonna say a bit more about that in the spoilery section. But what you should know probably going into the route is this route is pretty brutal and shocking. Kind of shocking. Yeah, I would say kind of shocking. And the climax really was more extreme than I expected, but I really liked it. It was good. I'm not gonna say it was bad. There was just like a few things that I didn't understand, which I'm gonna go into in the spoilery section again. But the finale that followed was honestly really good. At the end, I really felt like I didn't want to like him, but I do. He's just so goddamn well written, I just cannot help it. And his CGs are so great, even the unromantic ones, which is really surprising to me, because usually I love just the romantic ones. Like the unromantic ones usually let me hanging, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. But like these ones are real fire. Like not necessarily because they just look good, but it's more like for what they stand for, and they are really meaningful, like all of them. So like he's just really satisfying to read, I guess, his route. So I actually wrote down, I think this is possibly the deepest route of the game. I haven't played Shu yet, so I don't know if I'm right on that, but I kind of suspect it. So this is all for side A. Before we go into side B, I'm now gonna go back and do the spoilers for side A. So if you don't want to hear them, you can just skip ahead. Yeah, so here we go with Helvetica side A, spoilery section. Again, I'm gonna try not to like spoil the whole plot and say exactly what happened. I'm just gonna give you my thoughts on what happened. So like if you didn't watch it, this would probably not make that much sense, but maybe it will warn you on some stuff, or like give you a better understanding if you're not sure on it. But yeah, be warned that this might spoil you on stuff. It will actually. Anyway, so as I already said, I had like an expectation going in, and I was right with it, I think. Basically, I'm not gonna hide it, I thought he was kind of an asshole, which is, I think, what I expressed before. He's not my type. It was kind of weird at the beginning. I was not sure where anything was going, but then kind of shit hit the fan when he revealed more about his past, or like the first thing about his past. And yeah, that was kind of where everything started, right? Because you get a better understanding, and I was really shocked about it. I did not expect it to be that great. Like there were hints online that it would be kind of shocking or like kind of dark, And it definitely was. I just didn't think it would be that dark. What I found funny, what I can say now in the spoilery section, is I still, after that, like, I was playing and I still didn't feel like he wanted to like the main character, or like if he does, that he doesn't want to, or he doesn't like to like the main character. And I was really surprised because, like, I mean, this is his romance path, this is his route, so what's happening? And I found that very interesting because, like, that's kind of rarely done, at least in the Otoge that I read recently. Yeah, but it was really nice that he still tried to understand her, even though it kind of didn't work. On that note, I really liked, and I was really surprised by, that he actually tried to make a move on Teuta, and she rejected him, which I did not see coming at all. And I really loved their vector talk. I really felt, and I think this cemented Teuta even more as my favorite main character, or like one of my favorites, is that she says exactly what I want her to say. Like, Teuta is just basically the best. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah, again, the next notes I have say the same thing again. I actually enjoy this route, even though it kind of doesn't feel like a romance route, because the main character doesn't seem into the guy. I don't know what to tell you. I found that hilarious actually playing through it, because I also wasn't feeling it, right? But the twist comes later, because it always gets you when you least expect it. And this time it was him breaking down basically. And I was so surprised about that. Helvetica seems so strong and strong-willed, but then suddenly he's helpless. It all felt just like all that we saw before was a perfect facade. And even though I kind of knew that's probably not all of it, I still really felt like he just lost sight of knowing that it is a facade, like he himself, so that he was now lost in himself, basically. I'm not sure if I'm actually describing that correctly. It's kind of hard to put into words, but it felt really profound to see that. It felt really real and raw, and I really liked that. So basically, Helvetica doesn't know who he is anymore, the facade or the empty, sad past fragment of himself. Yeah, and it was really interesting to me. I really didn't expect him to go that deep and just bring out such true feelings and such dark feelings too. And then he just says stuff that just is so good to hear, as I already said. And so at this point I was invested. I was also invested in his character, in his personality. And I was starting to sway, as I already said in the non-spoilery part. So because he starts saying stuff that's just so good, and it hits. After this, it just hits. But he's still insufferable in how he acts, and that was kind of. I guess I really felt like Teuta in that sense. You're just like in this limbo. No, not limbo. You're going back like pendulum. Like from liking him to not liking him, and back again, and this is interesting, and he's attractive, and then he's insufferable again. And then, because this drama apparently wasn't enough, then the whole drug incident happens. I'm just gonna call it like that. And like, this is when I just went all in. Like I was like, okay, let's forget about everything that happened before. I was just ready to fix everything. I was ready to do anything for this guy. Yeah, I think my notes are pretty clear on this. I just wrote, oh baby boo, what happened? It's alright. You're safe. We will fix whatever is wrong. Yeah. And I really liked how soft he got after that. I mean, it's not like I wanted him to go through all of this, but I really liked the truth that came out of him, the raw character. And it just seemed so real, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't shy away from anything. Basically, it felt as if his character, or like his personality, his person, was not connected to anything on Earth before this incident, but now he was tethered. And what tethered him was the main character. And I really like that. That's just such a connection, you know? And that's actually the point where I wrote the thing down that I mentioned with the sprite. I wrote down, did his sprite change? Or am I imagining him looking softer, more friendly and approachable? And I 100% think that's just me projecting. I don't think they actually changed his sprite after this incident, but I think that's just me completely falling for him, actually. But the story's not over here, right? So it just continued, and it got deeper and deeper, and like I already said, really profound. And then it just slaps you back in the face with his character, because he just swings back, I guess. And I was like, okay, so he's kind of back to being sleeky again, but this time I'm kind of into it, and I couldn't explain why. But then he took it too far again, and we're just back at good old Helvetica being insufferable. And this is kind of where we end up now, where I'm just in love with half of him, and I just loathe the other part. The story was still really interesting though. Like I said, his route was really brutal and shocking. I'm not gonna say anything about why, but what I kind of didn't understand about the climax of his story was, since it was so extreme and like really well written, I was kind of confused about why Limbo and Shu didn't show up. Like, were they out of reach, or like why? It wasn't really explained. I would have expected them to meddle, but they didn't. But anyhow, we got to the finale, and yeah, I just stayed on these feelings I already expressed. I honestly really didn't want to like him, but I just did, because everything just fit. Like, he was so well written, and I don't know, I really fell for his softer side, I guess, that he's usually not showing people, but it's still there, and I really like it. And if I have to just suffer through his, I'm just gonna say, bad side, then that's it, I guess. So I kind of fell for him, and I didn't expect that, I guess. Now let's continue with my way shorter commentary of his side B. So, Helvetica side B, non-spoiler section again. In this side B, pretty early on too, there's some stuff said that was pretty profound advice, and I'm just repeating myself, but it was just really well written, and I really liked how everything was not presented in a like a spectacle. It's just really tasteful, everything. I really felt at this point that Limbo and the main character did click the best, but Helvetica actually seemed to needed her the most out of the group without knowing it. Again, this is my statement before playing Shu. I don't know if that changes, but so far this is my verdict. But then I guess now it was kind of about the relationship between Helvetica and Teuta, and I mean, at this point I'm not sure. It's I guess the most interesting out of the bunch what's happening here, but I'm not sure. I don't know how to feel about what's happening. It kind of made sense, but I didn't expect it in an Otome, I guess. I'm just gonna say I am still in a kind of love-loathe relationship with him. It did make sense what happened, and I also think it made sense how the characters reacted, what conclusions they came through, and how they acted and everything. But yeah, I just didn't expect it. It was well written, it was interesting, I just didn't expect that in an Otome to happen. But yeah, it was definitely interesting and realistic. But oh boy, it really broke my heart, basically, is what I'm saying. What happened along the way. Anyway, I'm just gonna say as the last thing for side B, I did not like the ending. I thought it was otherwise exceptionally well written. I really do love Helvetica, but I also loathe how he acts sometimes, and I think Teuta would agree with me. So I guess now I'm gonna go into a few spoilers, actually not that many. Spoilers incoming now. Okay, so I thought the look back into his past was as tough as it was real. Like, it's just so well written. I'm a broken record at this point, but his route definitely will get my best writing award, I guess. Yeah, I was kind of surprised about that Helvetica was unsure about making it official, and I was kind of surprised that it happened. And I mean, this is the spoiler section, so I'm just gonna go all in. I was so surprised that they actually broke up just as they got together, basically. I really did not see that coming at all. And yeah, I thought that was actually really interesting. I mean, it broke my heart, like I said, but like, damn, it kind of was bound to happen the way they acted. And yeah, I mean, it was just good. Yeah, sadly, I felt the ending was just not good enough for the rest of it. I mean, I can understand it's not unrealistic or anything. It's not pushed, or like maybe I'm trying to push it. I don't know, but I just felt like basically when I read the ending, I was just like, that is it. Okay, so you're just gonna end on that note? Okay. So I guess I already know that BUSTAFELLOWS 2 is coming out sometime, so I guess I'm gonna get my hopes up for that one. But it's kind of sad that you have to get to a fandom to get into something interesting, because I think there could be a lot of interesting things. Because like, damn, there was some spice in, or like spice teas in this route, definitely. Yeah. Alright, that's kind of all that I have on Helvetica, so let me rank him now. Alright, so, as you already heard, I love him, but I also loathe him. I think I made that abundantly clear. So, there's some part of me that want to put him up here, and I really debated that. I actually thought about it for days. I'm not kidding. I was really unsure how to rate him. But I think by now I really thought about it, and I have racked my brain which category would be the best for him. But I think I came to the statement, and I kind of summed that up in a Reddit post pretty well. So actually, let me just read a little bit from the post that I posted about Helvetica. Helvetica's plot is very personal and actually pretty deep in itself, and regarding introspecting into the love interest. I disliked him before in the sense that I was not interested romantically in him at all, but now I kinda loathe him a lot. Would I date him? If circumstances arise? Probably. Would I date him if Limbo is available instead? Hell no. But I'd hang out with him despite his annoying ass any day. So I guess this kind of sums up my feelings pretty nicely. So I have decided to put him into did not quite take the bait / good. So I really kind of hate to put him here, because like I said, he had the best writing and character growth and whatever. But to be honest, I mean, that's just a fact. I did not take the bait. He's just not my type, and that's okay. And even though it pains me that it is like that, and even though it pains me to put him so low, it just is a fact. He's not my type. I learned to love him, and I do love him, but I love him basically despite his true character, right? And I think then it's just fair to put him here and not to put him up there with the other guys. So yeah, this is my verdict, and now I'm really hyped for Shu, and then we have one more game finished. Also, for you guys that are interested, I have Lover Pretend, and I've just gotten Biroshana, Rising Flower of Genpei. I hope I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye! What a gentle voice. Oh no. Yeah, he had kind of the vibe on him. What are we rating here? Oh, you are such a-holes. That's out of 100 points, right? I mean, the sprite is fine, but your attitude... No, I don't... Why is he more attracted to me the less attracted I am to him?
67点くらいに上げときます。
Oh, get off my arse.